If you're seeing these signs, you're on the path to wealth. Wealth doesn't just arrive in your bank account one day by accident. Before you ever touch the money, before you see the numbers rise, there are signs. Subtle, powerful, undeniable signs that you're aligning with abundance. If you're seeing these, it means something is shifting in your spirit, your habits, and your mindset. And wealth is responding. Today, I want to walk you through the undeniable indicators that you're on the path to real, lasting wealth. Not just financial success, but freedom, fulfillment, and legacy. You've taken full responsibility for your life. Wealth begins the moment you stop blaming and start owning your outcomes. There is a shift that happens in every successful person's life, a turning point. And it doesn't start with money in the bank or a business idea going viral. It starts the moment they stop blaming others, stop making excuses, and say one powerful thing: this is my life. I am responsible for it. That moment, when you take full responsibility for your life, is when the journey to wealth truly begins, because wealth doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your mindset, and a wealth mindset doesn't play the victim. It doesn't wait for someone to save them. It doesn't cry over what happened. It says, what now? What can I learn? What can I do? Blame is a barrier to abundance. When you blame others for your circumstances, you give them power over your future. Think about it. How can you change something you believe someone else is in control of? The moment you say, I'm broke because of my parents, I can't win because of the economy, or I failed because of my boss, you are handing over your authority. You are giving away the very power you need to build wealth. Taking responsibility doesn't mean everything that happened to you is your fault. It means you recognize your response is your responsibility. What happened in your past may not have been fair, but what you do next, that's on you, and that's where your freedom begins. Responsibility creates power. When you take responsibility, you stop asking, why me? And you start asking, what now? That shift in questions is what separates the wealthy from the wishing. The successful don't spend time justifying failure. They use every setback as fuel. They ask, what did I learn? How can I grow? What needs to change? The most powerful people in the world didn't come from perfect backgrounds. They came from pain. They came from struggle. But they refused to let that be the end of their story. They took ownership of their healing, their growth, their mindset, and their money. And so must you. Wealth demands maturity to attract wealth. You must become the kind of person who can handle it. That means you must master your emotions, your time, your habits, and your thinking. You must be self-led. And let's be real, blaming is easy, ownership is hard. It's hard to look in the mirror and say, I created this. It's hard to admit you procrastinated, ignored the signs, spent too much, settled for less. But that honesty, that humility, it's the gateway to power, because once you own it, you can change it. Your life is the result of your standards. Taking responsibility also means raising your standards. What you tolerate is what you teach the world to give you. If you tolerate laziness, chaos, and poor thinking, you'll keep getting more of the same. Wealthy people don't tolerate mediocrity. They expect excellence from themselves. They don't wait to feel motivated. They act from discipline. They don't hope for success. They plan for it. If you're serious about wealth, you have to hold yourself to a higher standard. No one else is coming to push you. You must be the one to decide, this version of me is no longer acceptable. I'm becoming more. Everything changes when you do the good news. Once you take responsibility, nothing is off limits. Because you realize that success isn't based on luck, it's based on decisions. And you get to make new ones every single day. You decide to learn. You decide to save. You decide to invest. You decide to build. You decide to lead. You decide to become. Everything in your external world begins to shift the moment you shift internally. You start taking yourself seriously, and so does the world. You are the cause, not the effect. Victims wait for something to happen. Leaders make it happen. Responsibility shifts you from being at the mercy of life to being the creator of it. You become the cause, not the effect. That's when wealth starts responding. That's when doors open, not because the world changed, but because you did. When you walk in responsibility, you walk in power. And power attracts opportunity, it attracts trust, it attracts resources, it attracts wealth. Own it all, and watch it all shift. If you're tired of being stuck, if you're tired of watching others rise while you stand still, stop waiting. Stop blaming, stop explaining, take full responsibility for your mindset, for your habits, for your relationships, for your finances, for your healing, for your life. Because once you own it all, you can change it all. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a creator of your destiny. And the path to wealth doesn't start with money. It starts the moment you say, I am responsible. You're thinking in decades, not days. Your vision has expanded beyond quick money. Now you're building lasting wealth. We live in a world addicted to speed, fast food, fast fame, fast money. We're constantly bombarded with images of overnight success, crypto millionaires, and instant influencers. And in that noise, the average person forgets the truth. Real wealth isn't built in days. It's built over decades. The moment you stop chasing quick wins and start planting for the future, that's the moment you step into a different league. That's when you stop thinking like the masses and start moving like the wealthy. Because the wealthy aren't sprinting, they're strategizing. They're not just thinking about today's income. They're building something that can feed their children's children. Short-term thinking is a poverty trap. Short-term thinking says, how can I make money fast? What's trending right now? What's the easiest way out? This mindset is rooted in desperation and scarcity. It focuses only on survival, not on legacy. And while it may produce a few quick bucks, it often comes at the cost of long-term gain. It leads to impulsive spending, get-rich-quick schemes, and unstable foundations. You don't build a skyscraper by stacking bricks in a rush. You build it by laying a deep, solid foundation. Wealthy people think like architects. They're not building tents. They're building empires, and empires take time. The wealthy play the long game. Here's what happens when you start thinking in decades instead of days. You stop jumping from idea to idea, and you commit to building something meaningful. You stop comparing your journey to others because you know you're not on a sprint, you're running a marathon. You make decisions today that your future self will thank you for, not regret. A long-term mindset is rare, but it's powerful. Think about Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest men alive, and yet the majority of his wealth came after the age of 60. Why? Because he mastered the art of patient, long-term investing. He wasn't chasing hype. He was building a legacy. Vision beyond the moment. When you think in decades, your vision stretches beyond the now. You begin asking different questions. How will this investment grow in 10 years? Will this business still serve people 20 years from now? Am I building something that creates value or just chasing attention? This shift expands everything: your patience, your discipline, your capacity. You stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a creator. You're not just working for money. You're creating systems, products, and brands that can outlive you. That's not just wealth, that's impact. Sacrifice now, multiply later. Delayed gratification is the language of the wealthy. It's the mindset that says, I'll do what others won't now, so I can live how others can't later. You may not have the luxury lifestyle today, but you're investing, you're building, you're learning, you're compounding your skills, your assets, and your influence. That compound effect, it's quiet at first. It looks like nothing is happening. But over time, the results become unmatched. Think about a tree. For years, it grows underground before you see anything. But once it breaks the surface, it's strong, unshakable, and ready to last for generations. That's how wealth works. Think in legacy, not just lifestyle. When you think in decades, you don't just build for you. You build for your family, your community, your future. You start asking, what am I leaving behind? Will my children benefit from what I'm building? Am I creating something that will last beyond my lifetime? Legacy-minded people don't care about impressing others today. They care about changing lives tomorrow. You're no longer chasing trends. You're setting foundations. You're not here to look rich. You're here to be rich in purpose, in freedom, and in ownership. Stay consistent, even when it's quiet. One of the hardest parts of thinking long-term is staying committed during the slow seasons. Because long-term success isn't loud, it's not glamorous, it's repetitive, it's consistent, but consistency is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Show up every day, even when it feels like nothing is changing, even when no one is clapping, even when the numbers are small. Because one day, your future self will wake up in the life you built brick by brick, not the one you wished for overnight. Think bigger, think longer, so if you've started thinking in decades, not days, you're already different. You've stepped into a rare category. You've moved from consumer to creator, from quick chaser to legacy builder. Keep building, keep investing, keep showing up. Because while others are chasing the moment, you're building forever. And when your vision expands beyond today, wealth starts flowing toward you, not away from you, because real wealth, it's not fast, it's forever. Your circle is shifting to match your growth. You're gravitating toward you conversations and like-minded builders. There comes a moment in every journey of growth when you realize something is changing, not just within you, but around you. The conversations feel different. The energy in certain rooms starts to feel off. Old friends feel distant, not because of conflict, but because of evolution, and that's when you know your circle is shifting. You're no longer comfortable with small talk, gossip, or negativity. You crave deeper connection, richer discussions, and relationships that challenge you, not keep you stagnant. This is one of the most powerful and undeniable signs that you're evolving and stepping into a new level of wealth, purpose, and personal power. You outgrow comfort before you outgrow people. Let's be honest, some relationships were built around your old habits, not your higher self. They were built in your survival era, not your success era. So as you grow in discipline, ambition, and clarity, those old dynamics start to feel misaligned. It's not that you're better than anyone, it's that your values have changed. Where once you were satisfied with being liked, now you want to be aligned. You're no longer seeking validation from people who don't share your vision. You're seeking collaboration with people who amplify it. Your energy is no longer for sale when you're serious about growth. You stop entertaining conversations that drain you. You stop responding to drama. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Because your energy is your most valuable currency, and you finally realize not everyone deserves access to it. You've begun protecting your peace, filtering your connections, choosing environments that reflect where you're going, not where you've been. And that boundary, that's not arrogance, that's awareness. You crave value over vibes at this stage. You want more than just fun or familiarity. You want value. You want conversations that spark ideas. Friends that talk about investments, wellness, mindset, business, and vision. People who challenge you to level up, not settle down. You want to be around builders, those who aren't afraid of growth, risk, or discomfort. Because you understand, you become who you're around. If you're around people who complain, you'll start complaining. If you're around people who plan, create, and execute, you'll rise to that frequency. You feel the pull toward new rooms sometimes. Before you find your new tribe, you'll experience a lonely in between. Old friendships fade. New ones haven't fully formed, and it's tempting to go back to what's familiar, even if it no longer fits. But don't go backward to be understood. Keep going forward to be respected. You may not be fully there yet, but you're becoming. You're growing into someone who belongs in rooms where your ambition isn't too much, your vision isn't too big, and your success doesn't need to be dimmed. That in-between season is sacred. It's where your discernment sharpens, where you stop settling for connection based on history and start choosing connection based on alignment. Your circle reflects your future, not just your past. If you want to know where you're going, look around. Are the people in your life speaking life into you, challenging you to rise, encouraging you to evolve, or are they pulling you back into patterns you've already outgrown? Your circle should not just reflect your comfort zone. It should reflect your growth zone. You need people who celebrate your wins without shrinking, hold you accountable to your goals, inspire you to dream bigger, challenge your excuses, match your energy, not drain it. That kind of circle multiplies you. It's not about numbers, it's about alignment. You're becoming someone your future tribe recognizes. Here's the truth. Your future tribe is already out there. The hive, you people you admire, the investors, creators, builders, and thinkers, they already exist. But they won't recognize you if you're still pretending to be who you used to be. So you're doing the inner work, elevating your standards, clarifying your vision, strengthening your character, because the right people don't just come when you ask. They come when you're ready. And every time you choose growth over gossip, discipline over distraction, and purpose over popularity, you're getting ready. Protect the shift. Honor the process. If your circle is shifting, don't fight it. Don't fear it, honor it. It means you're shedding what's small to make room for what's expansive. It means you're being called to a new level, and that new level requires new surroundings. Keep becoming. Keep building. Keep seeking conversations that feed your future, not ones that validate your past. Because wealth, real, lasting wealth, isn't just about money. It's about who you surround yourself with. It's about energy, mindset, influence, and alignment. And when your circle starts to match your growth, everything in your life begins to elevate. So protect your space, guard your energy, and choose your tribe intentionally. Because your future is far too valuable to build with people who are stuck in the past. You're obsessed with becoming better every day. Self-investment has become your priority, and growth is your new standard. There is a silent revolution happening within you. You've stopped looking for shortcuts. You've stopped asking for permission. You're no longer hoping that something outside of you will change your life, because now you've made a decision. You've decided to bet on yourself. You've realized that the most powerful investment you can ever make is not in stocks, business, or real estate, but in you, in your mindset, in your habits, in your skill set, in your soul. And once you make that shift, everything begins to change. You've set a new standard for yourself. The version of you that was satisfied with mediocrity no longer exists. You've raised the bar. You've set a new standard, and it's non-negotiable. You're no longer just showing up. You're showing up intentionally. You're not just working. You're working on yourself. You read daily. You listen to things that challenge your perspective. You reflect, you journal, you ask hard questions. You audit your behavior, and you hold yourself accountable. This is no longer a phase. It's a lifestyle, because you understand now. If you grow, everything grows. Your income grows. Your influence grows. Your peace grows. Your ability to lead, create, and impact, it all multiplies. You're no longer addicted to comfort. Growth and comfort do not coexist, and you've chosen growth. That means waking up earlier than you used to, saying no to things that no longer align, letting go of people, habits, and distractions that once defined you. You've become obsessed with stretching yourself, not because it's easy, but because you refuse to stay the same. You understand that who you want to become is on the other side of discomfort, discipline, and delayed gratification. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every single day, you're committed to being 1% better. You've made self-investment a priority, not a luxury. Some people wait for someone to validate their worth before they invest in themselves. Not you. You've decided to invest before you feel ready. You take the course. You hire the coach, you read the book, you sit in the room, you ask questions, you stay curious, because you know, when you grow, you glow, and self-investment pays the highest return, every single time. You're not waiting for someone to save you or notice you. You've realized you are the asset, you are the brand, you are the solution, so you pour into yourself daily, not occasionally. Your obsession is healthy. It's holy, it's required. Let's be clear, the world might call it obsession, but that's just how excellence looks to the average person. This isn't burnout, this isn't hustle culture, this is alignment. You've found something worth growing for, and now you wake up with purpose. You go to bed with intention, and you live in a state of creative momentum. This obsession with becoming better, it's not a weakness. It's your superpower. It's what separates leaders from followers, winners from wishers, builders from consumers. You've fallen in love with the process. You no longer just chase results. You embrace the routine. You celebrate showing up, not just showing off. You know that reading 10 pages today matters. You know that choosing discipline over distraction matters. You know that the early mornings, the journaling, the workouts, the silence, it all adds up. You're playing the long game. You're building brick by brick. And even when no one sees it, you see it. You see the progress in your posture, in your confidence, in your self-control, in your clarity. In your peace, you're becoming unrecognizable. And that's the point. Sometimes people don't recognize you anymore. You've outgrown certain conversations. You don't move the same. You don't react the same. You don't settle like you used to, and that's okay. Because the version of you who was always available, always distracted, always doubting, they're gone. In their place is someone focused, intentional, and fully engaged with becoming their best. You're not running from who you were. You're rising into who you were always meant to be. Stay committed to the becoming. If you're obsessed with becoming better every day, don't tone it down to make others comfortable. Keep rising. This path isn't for everyone, but you're not everyone. You're called to something greater, and the world needs what you're becoming. So keep reading, keep reflecting, keep showing up when it's hard. Keep building your habits, your mindset, your character. You don't need applause. You don't need permission. You need discipline, consistency, and vision, because who you're becoming is unstoppable. You're acting despite fear, and that's attracting results. You're no longer waiting. You're creating. That's the wealth mindset in motion. There's a powerful shift that takes place on the path to success. It's not when you feel ready. It's not when the fear disappears. It's not when all the conditions are perfect. It's when you choose to move anyway. Because real transformation happens when you act despite fear. When you stop letting emotion paralyze your progress and start letting purpose drive your decisions. That moment you stop waiting and start creating. That moment you stop overthinking and take the first step. That's the moment you move from survival to creation, from wishing to building, from being reactive to being powerful. And that's when results start showing up. Fear will always be present, but it doesn't have to be in charge. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You will never feel 100% ready. You will never be completely fearless. There will always be a reason to hesitate. But if you want to win, if you want to grow, build, and become, you have to move with fear sitting in the back seat, not the driver's seat. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is movement in the presence of it. And the moment you stop waiting for fear to go away, you reclaim your freedom to act. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. Too many people stay stuck in their heads, trying to map out every detail before taking the first step. But success doesn't reward perfection. It rewards movement. When you act, you gain feedback. When you act, you learn what works and what doesn't. When you act, you gain momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Waiting to feel certain before you move is like waiting to be in shape before you go to the gym. It doesn't work that way. Action brings clarity. Action builds confidence. Action attracts results. You're no longer controlled by what if. You've reached a point where your fear of staying stuck is greater than your fear of failing. That's when everything changes. You stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And you start asking, what if it does? What if I actually win? What if I succeed? What if this changes my life? That mental shift is magnetic. It moves you out of survival mode and into a space of creation. It raises your energy, your frequency, and your power, and wealth, opportunity, growth. They all respond to that energy. Creators don't wait. They build. You're not waiting for the right time anymore. Because the right time is now. You've realized that every day you delay is a day you stay disconnected from your next level. So you show up, you launch the business, you post the video, you write the book, you start the program, you take the call, you make the move. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be in motion, and motion leads to results. Every single time. Fear shrinks when you move through it. The funny thing about fear, it looks huge when you stand still, but it shrinks when you walk through it. Every time you do something scared, you prove to yourself that fear isn't fatal. You train your nervous system to stop panicking and start adapting. You stretch your comfort zone, and what used to terrify you becomes normal. That's growth. That's evolution. That's power. And soon, the things that used to make you nervous become the very things that make you strong. The wealth mindset is built on movement. You've stepped into a new way of thinking. You're no longer waiting for permission. You're not asking the world to give you confidence. You're generating it through consistent action. This is the wealth mindset in motion. You understand that execution beats intention. You know that energy follows action. You realize that done is better than perfect. And you believe in progress over comfort. You're becoming the kind of person wealth trusts. Not just someone who dreams, but someone who executes. You're attracting results because you're becoming aligned. Here's the secret. It's not just about the action. It's about the alignment. You're no longer acting from desperation. You're acting from clarity. You're building from identity. You're moving in integrity with your vision. And because your thoughts, actions, and beliefs are aligned, you're magnetic. You're dangerous, you're in flow. This is why things are shifting, why people are noticing, why doors are opening, because when you act despite fear, you send a signal to life itself, I'm ready. And life responds, keep moving. Even if your voice shakes, if you're acting despite fear, don't stop now. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, the unknown can be loud, but your future is louder. Keep going. Let your courage speak louder than your hesitation. Let your purpose burn brighter than your fear. Let your vision pull you harder than your doubts push you. Because the moment you stopped waiting and started creating, you became unstoppable. You stepped into the wealth mindset, and now that you've started, there's no turning back.